Have you ever looked at an animal and just thought, how on earth did that happen? Well, today we're diving headfirst into the bizarre, the brilliant, and the just plain baffling corners of the animal kingdom. We're going to meet creatures that look like they were put together from a spare parts bin, and others with abilities that seem ripped straight from a comic book.
Just look at this thing. This is a deep-sea anglerfish, and it lives in the crushing, pitch-black darkness of the ocean's midnight zone. And that little glowing orb, that's not a light somebody's shining on it. No, that's part of its own body. It's a fleshy lure filled with glowing bacteria, and it uses it like a built-in fishing rod to attract its next meal. When you see something this wonderfully strange, it makes you ask a really important question. Are these things nature's misfits, or are they absolute masterpieces of evolution? That's what we're digging into today.
Because, let's be real. Evolution has a wild sense of humor. You've got fish with transparent heads so they can see through their own foreheads, mammals that lay eggs. It feels like the rulebook of biology just gets tossed out the window again and again. So why? What's the driving force behind all these incredible oddities?
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we're going to redefine what weird even means when we're talking about evolution. Then, we'll meet some creatures that are perfectly sculpted for the most extreme places on Earth. After that, we'll get into some animal superpowers that honestly defy belief. Then, we'll take a look at this urgent race between discovering new life and losing it forever. And finally, we'll bring it all home and talk about why protecting all this weirdness is so important for all of us.
Okay, first up, what really makes an animal weird? It's easy for us to point at something we've never seen before and call it strange, but there's something much deeper, way more elegant going on here.
See, when we say weird, all we're really saying is that it deviates from our idea of what's normal. But in the grand scheme of things, weird isn't a mistake, it's a solution. These bizarre traits, they're almost always these super specialized adaptations. They're genius answers to the incredibly tough problems that life throws at you.
And that brings us perfectly to our next section, animals that are built for the extreme. Because sometimes to survive in an impossible place, you need a truly impossible-looking body. The very shape of these creatures is a direct result of the intense pressures of where they live, whether that's crushing depths, scorching heat, or just plain nothingness.
And case in point, the blobfish. Yeah, it got voted the world's ugliest animal, which is rough. And looking at it here at sea level, you kinda get it. It looks like a grumpy, melted puddle of a cartoon character. But that image, that whole idea of it being ugly, it's totally unfair, and it completely misrepresents this incredible deep-sea survivor.
So here's the real story. Down where it lives, almost 4,000 feet deep, the pressure is about 120 times what we feel right now. Most fish have a little gas-filled balloon inside them to stay buoyant, but down there, that would be crushed instantly. The blobfish's solution is genius. Its body is made of this gelatinous goo that's just a little less dense than water. So it doesn't really swim, it just floats, effortlessly. It just hovers above the seafloor, waiting for food to drift by. It barely has a skeleton or muscles, so when it's dragged up to the surface in a fishing net, that catastrophic drop in pressure means it just collapses. It's not ugly, it's perfectly designed for a world we couldn't survive in for a single second.
Okay, so if the blobfish is a product of its extreme environment, the platypus seems like a product of evolution just having fun. This is a creature that seems to break every single biological rule we have. When the first one was sent to England back in 1799, scientists were absolutely convinced it was a fake, that some prankster had sewn a duck's bill onto a beaver's body. They literally tried to find the stitches.
Just listen to this laundry list of weirdness. It's a mammal, but it lays eggs. That duckbill isn't hard, it's soft and leathery, and it's covered in thousands of tiny sensors that detect electricity. This lets it hunt underwater with its eyes, ears, and nostrils completely shut, sensing the faint electrical pulses from its prey's muscles. Oh, and the males, they have venomous spurs on their hind legs that can cause pain so excruciating, a victim once said it was worse than being hit by shrapnel. It's a true evolutionary puzzle in one furry, web-footed package.
All right, so we've seen some bizarre bodies. Now let's talk about some truly unbelievable abilities. I'm talking about animals whose adaptations feel less like biology and more like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
This is the deep-sea jellyfish Atola wavilius. In normal light, it looks pretty standard, but when it gets attacked, it does something amazing. It sets off what scientists call a bioluminescent burglar alarm, this pulsating pinwheel of bright blue light.
Now, the genius part is, it's not trying to scare its attacker. It's trying to attract an even bigger predator that will hopefully come eat the thing that's trying to eat it. It's basically a luminous scream for help.
And this whole making your own light thing, it's not some rare party trick in the deep ocean. It's pretty much the main language down there. The chemistry is actually pretty simple. You take a molecule called luciferin, add some oxygen, and an enzyme called luciferase acts like a match to start a reaction that creates cold light. No heat wasted. It's so effective that over 75% of deep-sea animals can do this to find a mate, hide from predators, or, like our friend the anglerfish, to lure in dinner.
So from making light, let's go to remaking yourself entirely. This is the axolotl, a type of salamander from near Mexico City that holds the key to near-perfect regeneration. It's also famous for basically never growing up. It keeps its juvenile, tadpole-like features its whole life. It's the Peter Pan of the animal world.
And its superpower is just mind-blowing. If an axolotl loses a leg, the cells at the wound site basically travel back in time, becoming stem cell-like again. They form this little bud of cells called a blastema, which then perfectly reconstructs the entire limb, bone, muscle, skin, nerves, everything. And we're not just talking about limbs. They can regrow damaged parts of their spinal cord, their heart, and even parts of their brain, all without any scars. It's incredible.
And then sometimes, a superpower is just pure, unadulterated, explosive force. This is the mantis shrimp, one of the most powerful predators in the ocean for its size. Its little club-like claws accelerate with the same force as a fired .22 caliber bullet. They move so fast that they literally boil the water in front of them, creating a shockwave bubble that collapses with enough force to kill prey even if the claw itself misses. This little guy can punch so hard it can shatter aquarium glass.
So this all leads us to a more serious but really important reality. We are living in this incredible age of discovery, where we're constantly finding new and bizarre forms of life. But at the exact same time, we're losing biodiversity at an alarming rate. We're in this urgent race against the clock.
And look at this, 190 new species described in 2024 by scientists at just one institution. That number includes things like a vegetarian piranha from Brazil named after Sauron from Lord of the Rings because of its eye-like markings, or a moth from Madagascar that has evolved to drink the tears from the eyes of sleeping birds. I mean, life in all its strange variety is still out there, just waiting to be found.
But as we're making these incredible finds, we're also documenting devastating losses. Look at the North Atlantic right whale. Its population has crashed by almost a third in just over a decade. We're down to about 350 of them left. And the most critical number? There are fewer than 70 breeding females remaining. And the cause is almost entirely us. Entanglements in fishing gear and being hit by ships. We're losing them way faster than they can recover.
And this quote from Dr. Tim Littlewood really hits the nail on the head. He says, in order to fix our broken planet, we need to keep learning about how life evolves and how vital its diversity is in keeping nature healthy. And he's right. Discovering and naming these species isn't just for textbooks, it's the absolute first step. It's how we understand what a healthy planet even looks like, and it's the only way we can figure out how to protect it.
Which brings us to our final and most important point. Why does all this weirdness matter? Why should we care about some gelatinous fish or an egg-laying mammal? Well, because it's not just about cool trivia. The strange and unique solutions these animals have come up with hold secrets that could totally change our own lives.
This is where the weird becomes incredibly valuable. Remember the platypus? Scientists found a hormone in its venom that could lead to new treatments for type 2 diabetes, and its milk contains a totally unique antibacterial protein that could help us fight superbugs. And of course, the axolotl's ability to regrow limbs without scarring? It's basically a living instruction manual for human regenerative medicine. These weirdos are packed with unexpected gifts.
So, in the end, what we call weird is really just a word for nature's most creative solutions. Weird is adaptation. Weird is resilience. Weird is, at its very heart, the beautiful, relentless, and ingenious engine of survival itself.
Which leaves us with one last, pretty urgent question. We're finding hundreds of new species every single year, each one with its own unique evolutionary story, its own library of secrets, but we're also pushing so many to the edge of extinction. So you have to ask yourself, what other wonders, what cures for diseases, what brilliant ideas are we losing right now before we even get the chance to say hello?